Welcome back to Better Pet Parents, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today I'll be sharing another one of my tips, and today's tip is start good habits early. So what I mean by that is if you are welcoming a new animal into your home, or if whether that animal is young or not young, at the beginning of your relationship with that animal, make sure that you are enforcing good habits early. Good habits are going to consist of things like getting used to nail trims, making sure that they understand what it's like to have a bath, and how it is to walk on a leash, how it is to be social, how it is to be around other people. Whatever you can do with introducing good habits, the best thing that you can do is introduce them early on in your pet's life or early on in your pet's new environment with your family. The quicker that animals learn new habits and good habits, the more enforced those are going to be and the better that they're going to stick. I can't tell you how many times as a professional groomer that I've heard people say the dog is 1 year old and it's never been groomed. Um, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit of an insider secret here today that if that's ever said to your dog groomer, a red flag is going up with your dog groomer that that's going to be an extremely difficult job. And that's because when you don't enforce good habits early, and an animal has never been made to do certain things, then they don't understand that those things are not going to harm them. Animals tend to react very dramatically when it comes to things that they've never had to do before. So the older the animal gets before they're made to do certain things, the worse that tends to be. The general consensus is that the longer you wait, the worse that is to get those habits incorporated again. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you to think about what you can do to enforce good habits early on in your pet's life. If your pet isn't young anymore and you still want to enforce good habits, then it's perfectly fine to go ahead and start. It's never too late to start trying to enforce good habits. It's so important that we get our animals used to things like having their nails trimmed, because everything that we do to our pets in terms of habits like that are for their benefit. Like small children, they don't always understand that the things that we're doing are not going to hurt them. You think about what it's like to be a small child at the dentist, or a small child who goes for your first haircut, and what it's like to freak out because you don't understand that nobody's there to hurt you. You don't understand that the process isn't going to hurt. And our animals don't either. So it's just so important to teach them from an early age that you have their best interest at heart and that anybody you have in their life has their best interest at heart. Because when those things get prolonged, they don't get attention. You get issues like the nails growing so far that they can come and curl back into the feet, or it can become very difficult for your pet to walk on them. When you don't introduce grooming early enough, then you can get such extensive cases of matting on the pet's face that they have to be sedated to get all of that off of the face because they've never been properly groomed. There's situations too that I've seen as a professional groomer where when things go too long and your pet never receives a proper sanitary trim and they've never gotten used to having any kind of maintenance work done on them, that they can have trouble even going to the bathroom, and you can get some situations that can get very out of control because habits were not introduced early enough on. Another very, very important thing to do early on in your pet's life is brushing. So any groomer is going to tell you that that's their number one pet peeve, is that when people don't introduce the habit of brushing, things can get very out of hand, especially when you're dealing with an animal with a certain type of coat. So you get an animal that has a short-haired coat, it's not a big deal. But you get an animal with long hair that needs to be groomed on a regular basis, especially if it's something that's got some curl to it, like the doodles out there. People don't understand the proper way to brush their animals, or they think they're brushing their animals, but really they're just skating by on the top surface of the hair and they're not getting down to the skin to actually detangle it. And then that animal becomes very matted. And then when grooming is finally introduced, It's an ordeal, it's an event, it's pelted, and it comes off in one piece. And the owners are always so astonished to see that that comes off in one piece because they weren't properly brushing from the get-go. So I just want you guys to give this some serious thought, that if you are somebody that is new to pet parenting, or you are somebody that is about to welcome a new animal into your home, or your animal is still young, make sure that you are having detailed conversations with your veterinarian and your groomer about what habits you can introduce early on in your pet's life, because the earlier you can introduce those habits, the more your pet will understand that those things are not out to get them. Those are habits that they'll be used to doing. And I've made a joke here before at Better Pet Parents about telling you guys that as a mobile groomer, a lot of the dogs in my clientele, you know, when they see that white van pull up in their driveway, they run and hide because they know I'm going to make them take a shower. So I'm not saying that your pet doesn't understand sometimes that they have to do things they don't want to do. But the point that we're trying to emphasize in today's discussion is making sure that they're never legitimately afraid, that they never perceive this as a true fight or flight situation, because when they have those types of reactions going on mentally, that's when you have some really difficult behaviors that are, very extensive to try to correct. So we as pet parents need to be enforcing good behavior from the get-go. As early as possible. Make sure that you're asking your vet everything that you can be doing with your pet's healthcare in terms of habits at home from an early start, such as like brushing their teeth. Even if you could do it once a week, it could add time to your pet's life, because oral hygiene is such an important part of their health. So I just want to encourage you to have the conversations with the professionals in your pet's life. Make sure you're asking your vet, what habits do I need to be working on? You know, if you're going to your first ever visit with a veterinarian, and a lot of people think that at the first time visit, you just need to do things like booster shots and heartworm tests and a physical exam, and that's true. But one of the best things you could do at your first ever visit is say, what do I need to be doing at home, so that they can teach you the proper way to do it. And like I say, the earlier your pet learns, the easier those habits will be in their life. So thank you for being the type of pet parent who would consider this topic. Thank you for always looking out for your pet's best interests, because better pet parents make the world a better place. Thank you for being here. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you again next week for another discussion.